Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we will learn about the sine and cosine ratios. In this particular video, we'll focus on sine. We learned about tangent already in a previous video. So the sine ratio is the ratio of the leg opposite an angle of a right triangle to the hypotenuse. Okay, so that would be opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so we're going to talk about two different types of angles that will come up throughout this lesson, the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. An angle of elevation is formed by a horizontal line, and it opens up toward an object. Okay, so let's just say you're standing here looking up at a flock of birds flying around, and if you were to be looking straight forward, this would be your line of sight. So there's a horizontal line. And if you're looking up at the birds, this is your line of sight. So we have a horizontal line here and an angle that opens upward toward an object. That is an angle of elevation. Okay, now if these birds are to fly straight forward over your head, that's a horizontal line. And if they were to fly downward toward you, that would be a horizontal line, and an angle that opens downward, that would be an angle of depression. Okay, now these two horizontal lines, they are parallel to each other. And this line between your eyes and the birds, that is a transversal that intersects both of these parallel lines. And these alternate interior angles formed by the angles of elevation and depression will be congruent. So within a particular picture, the angle of elevation and angle of depression will always be congruent. So the angle of depression is formed by a horizontal line, just like the angle of elevation. The only difference is that it goes down toward an object. Okay, so now let's focus back on the sine ratio. Okay, so in triangle ABC here, we have acute angle A. The sine of A is written as SIN, so it's abbreviated with just 3 letters. Sine A is defined as the length of the leg opposite angle A over the hypotenuse. So the leg opposite angle A is across the triangle. That would be side BC. And the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. That is side AC. Opposite leg over hypotenuse. Okay, so let's find sine of U and sine of W. So for angle U, the opposite leg is 16. And the hypotenuse right here is 34. So there it is as a fraction. Then as a decimal rounded to 4 places. 16 divided by 34 is 0.4706. That 5 gets bumped up by the 8. 0.4706. Okay? And then sine of angle W, opposite leg from angle W, is 30 over the hypotenuse, 34. And that is 0.8824. All right, now let's use our table of trigonometric ratios to give approximate angle measures for U and W. So for angle U, sine value is 0.4706. So under sine, I'm going to find 0.4706, and that comes right in here between 28 and 29 degrees. So angle U is somewhere between 28 degrees and 29 degrees. For sine of W, we have 0.8824, so under sine, 0.8824 is between 61 and 62 degrees. So somewhere between 61 degrees and 62 degrees is the measure of angle W. Now notice we have a right angle here, which leaves 90 degrees for these two angles to share. And it just so happens that 61 plus 29 is 90, and 62 plus 28 is 90. So whatever decimal value W actually is, plus whatever decimal value angle U actually is, would definitely add up to exactly 90 degrees. Okay, so let's try another one of these. So find sine of angle B. So here's angle B. Sine B equals opposite leg, 21, over the hypotenuse, which is the longest side always, and that is 29. So 21 divided by 29 is 0.7241. Okay, and then for C, opposite leg is 20. So sine C is 20 over the hypotenuse, which is 29. 20 divided by 29 is 0.689, and then that 6 gets bumped up to a 7. 0.6897. Okay, now let's approximate those angles between two whole numbers, so we won't get the decimal here. So sine, when it is 0.7241, so that's going to be right in here between 46 and 47 degrees. So angle B is between 46 degrees and 47 degrees. And then sine, when sine is 0.6897, that happens right here between 43 and 44 degrees. So somewhere in the range of 43 degrees to 44 degrees is angle C. And in a future lesson, we will come to the point where we can actually narrow that down to very specific decimal values.